UW Dialectical is corporate and very deranged. And one of the things that we know about them is that they don't yield honorably to testimony and knowledge, nor do they state their premises openly. What happened is that they lick each chops, meaning they showed a pornographic storyline that they battered a child into form for as a genocide warrant. That's what actually happened. Okay. Now, the way that you can see the truth of their blessing is that they hotwired around what they did. 1980, for example, I approached the people who had a platform for ecology and tried to reason with them. Why aren't you doing things to help the people who have shown that the earth is in danger? They were saying, well, because we have a priority, which is to promote our celebrity superstate, to lie about the AIDS attack, and to get African warriors who were actually working with Nazi Germany into position for oil wars. And of course, this was all covered as in the name of national security and in the name of chastity. They had this precious little complainer who I had never done anything with. I let her go the minute she began to wiggle. And they said that this proves that I was, decadence of the West. And I wanted to Putin, it's absurd. It came from the United Nations and it got wired up by the royal family through the Kremlin. And they have this Ukrainian puppet show going on with just steamrolling, just cannon fodder. It's like a Pink Floyd meat grinder that they put together for the end game. You know, and of course Roger Waters it's literally one of the masters of ceremonies of this Trumpy Putinese showboat, which is a montage in our media syndication system. And they're still not talking about the destruction of the planet. They see it as an apple. Take a bite of the apple, and when it dies, maybe we'll recuperate from the Numena, the Never Never Land of the Emerald Beyond or something, which is clearly what the Weedle on his guitar is always. He said something in music is more important than life itself. This is what you're trying to advocate for, Greta Trumpy Tune. You're out when you go to Glastonbury and you hang out with that weirdo. I forget his name, but that's where Mont Beyond is coming from. The Mabaya, the Weedle. There is something in music is more important than life itself. And he was smugging sniff with George Bush to the whole idiot oil war. You think Britain was number one in the oil wars? America was the number two tag along. This and they didn't want to hear anything about ecology. You think they take seriously this music that you think is cool? Is somebody coming from people who said that put me in contact with the man who said it's widely believed in the Pentagon that the Earth just isn't going to make it, but who cares? I've lived a good life. And this is who Patricia Fripp preferred to somebody who let a girl go when she began to wiggle, because they crucified me. This girl would go out into the woods screaming, "We're going to rape, kill, pillage, and burn. Going to rape, kill, pillage, burn, and eat babies," at the top of her lungs over and over again. And they wanted to cleanse my language of saying to her, you make it sound like you're saying I should have held on, forced you, when you were from getting away when you were wiggling away. I don't agree with you. And Patricia Fripp was like, we're going to draw a line in the sand and bomb Iraq. I mean, this is how deranged the British women in militarism there are. They're truly deranged. They're psychopathic. And they said that I was paranoid schizophrenic. What does paranoid schizophrenic have to do with it? If you look at the situation I was in, okay, as a child, My sister said, corroborates. She said, until I got home from Mount Desert Island, she'd never seen me angry. I was angry because I realized what was going on, that there was an agency involved. I thought they just disliked me. If you talk to the people in East Liberty, they'll all say, "Oh, Queerball was always getting in somebody's face. He was pushy. He was," because they knew that they were covering for people who had tortured me, and that they had made soundtracks of pictures of me when I was tortured as a child, and they were selling them to the people who funded this, which included Yoko Ono. She got Michael Reagan's favorite scene when I was 9 years old through this underground Sotheby's. They've got big money for it. Flame Over Africa was one of the people who said cameo in prison's disaster. He made a cameo of prison's disaster. You see, so they were pointing arrows at me, and they were saying, we're going to sue those people drowning in Bangladesh because they got away from the flood, they got away from the deluge. They're supposed to perish in Flame Over Africa. And the Weedle comes out with his guitar and says something: music is more important than life itself. And you think they're going to help you save the planet. I mean, so I had to, so they say, well, we made a movie that shows a completely different human being. They had snarled up a neuroplasm, lied to me cruelly, and brought a girl onto me who I had fallen in love with. I was every bit as sincere towards Rosa as I am towards you, Greta. And the person, this gang, starts following me around with movie cameras saying, act out our plan for a genocide warrant, act out our plan for a genocide warrant. You get code video 19 from this stuff. Joel Kaplan and Trumpy Toon made the code video 19 with Rose and the museum thieves that were arrested, John Schulman, which Penis Gabriel made no secret of alibiying. He put it on his song That Voice Again. He told everything that they were telling about me on the song That Voice Again. That's why we can't use this as a platform for ecology. That's why we can't use it, because that voice again, he's pushy, he's shovey. And they have this script. You think they just found it? They have the script. Okay, so they say they find the script that shows that they're heroes. They never went after the person who wrote the script. She's the hero of the story. Gail Burst and Paul McCartney agreed to disagree about John Lennon, but we're going to pin the tail on the donkey. That was, in fact, one of the gang's slogans. So they pinned the tail. What did I do? I realized there's an agency involved. And what's going on? What's going on? And they're like, act out our program, motherfucker. Whoop, whoop, whoop. He's being lessoned by the Klan and the NAACP were cheering it on. They were backstabbing me. They were informating on me to the Red Scare people. They were informating on the DevSec who thought he was special. Oh, special. He thought he was special. He went into Pitt News and wrote an article about saving the planet. He thinks he's special. We're going to informant on him. And they had this whole organized, and they were like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you? Because you kept telling me not to, because it was just me. Nobody cares about me, right? So I swallowed it. I said I was magnanimous about it. I thought it was just me they tortured. And then they went to people, because I ran up the steps to get away from the deluge, I'm to blame. And that's the situation that they're fomenting. You got a Glastonbury to hang out with them. I don't understand that. I'm not darken my doors until you break from Dixon. That's my philosophy about this stuff. I realize they have a huge machine in place and the earth has to be saved, but not at the expense of rewriting personal history of the abuse that they put on. These people were gunning for fossil fuel industries. They don't care about the planet. The Green Party never cared about the planet. The Green Party never, ever, ever cared about. For them, it's jobs in the fossil fuel industry. We want equal pay in the fossil fuel industry. We want black advancement in the fossil fuel industry. They don't care about. They make the streets terribly unsafe. The bus is terribly unsafe. We want to have mass transit, right? But they won't respect the rules of privacy on the bus. They give gang sign on the bus and extortion ultimatums on the bus and come up to if you're not one of us, then you're the enemy at the bus stops. It's ridiculous. You can't reason with the Green Party. The Green Party put Donahue on my father's obituary. And the wheel that they put together is this whole thing from this clever thing that the victims need to be blamed for their own suffering. And the way they do it is by finding a super, very viciously tortured victim of their practices who didn't get the virus. Oh man, we're going to have to build some momentum with the COVID DO19, Licky Chops, and the Virgin that Queerball was hunting for because he let that other one wiggle away. He still regrets letting that other one wiggle away. That's their narrative. She was a girl I met at the governor's school who I was slow to fall in love with, but once I did, I didn't need to be belabored by the people who had been denigrating me all through my life. We moved to Squirrel Hill to get away from the gang that tortured me. And they get these really cruel, snide Jewish kids who were in on it, who knew. Bronstein used to show up at Auschwitz house to degrade me. And then they give it to a mistranslation expert and say, "What's that mean, Jaime?" And he says, "I'll ask Brian Eno to tell Putin what I think it means." Yeah. And this is Carnegie Mellon University. And you wonder that there's indexes in the series of Ripper Hatter ordeals that are being salt and peppered around the country by these Ripper Hatters. Yeah, they preserving a girl's virginity out of common decency because you didn't want to impose your will on her because you were in love with her is an explanation for these kinds of Ripper Hatter con jobs. I don't understand. What's going on? You got an explanation? Try to explain. I'd like to hear it. Maybe, did you just not know this was going on?